Hey, I'm DJ Rosie, and you're about to get to know me on this episode of the Audio Infusion Green Room Sessions. Who is DJ Rosie? I am a mom, I'm a wife, I am a DJ, obviously. I'm also a special educator and work with kids. All right, so how I got my name, it's not a very creative name. My name is Rosie and my DJ name is DJ Rosie, but actually it was a name just given to me by a group of my friends one night when I actually had first began DJing, and they joked with me and were like, "Come on DJ Rosie, play us some music," and I just stuck with it. So how I got into DJing was I literally walked into it. A bunch of friends and I used to spend a lot of time at a local bar that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. We went out one night just to have some drinks and dance and enjoy ourselves, and when we walked in, the owner said that she had actually fired the DJ that night. So they had a jukebox. The jukebox actually rarely worked, so friends of mine would walk in and out of this booth that literally had like a stack of CDs in it, and they were playing music that you could not really dance to, and we were all kind of miserable listening to it. So I walked in there and asked if I could just pick out a few songs. I sifted through this huge pile of mess in this DJ booth, and was just trying to pick music that people could dance to. And crazy thing is that people actually started dancing. I had no idea what I was doing. I just loved music and just gave it a shot, and ended up by the end of the night, once people were dancing and the owner came up and introduced herself officially to me, she offered me a job. So I started working there, probably like one weekend night, or one night every other weekend or so. Made a whopping $75 a weekend, and the rest is history. So when I first started the Hippo, I was only a couple years into DJing at the time, and they had one of those old school but like beautiful classic rain mixers with all the rotary knobs. And that's kind of what I really started to become a DJ on. They had a history of having mostly like house DJs and dance music DJs, which they all kind of favored that style of mixer. For me, doing hip hop with that was quite a challenge that I kind of had to teach myself how to work with that. And I feel like it kind of put me at a little bit of a deficit, just because, a lot of hip hop DJs work with a regular fader. And I learned how to DJ hip hop with this rotary mixer, and so therefore it's kind of changed the way that I mix and the way that I DJ over the last 18 years at this point. So 11 and a half years of being in one place and using that kind of mixer just gets you to do things a little bit differently. But I mean, even with 18 years of it, it's worked for me. So I still wish I could have one even now, but you can't even find them anymore. So my last night at the Hippo, it was 11 and a half years that I spent there, doing hip hop night on Thursdays pretty much every week. And that very last night at the Hippo was pretty incredible. I mean, I still see the pictures floating around on Facebook of the crowd going straight down Eager Street and turning the corner, going down Charles Street. I mean, we were at full capacity probably by 11 o'clock, and the dance floor opened at 10. It was definitely something to remember, and I'm just, heartbroken that the Hippo is gone at this point, but it was epic. I mean, it's gonna basically live in history in our community, as probably being one of the best clubs Baltimore's ever seen. I miss it truly. Well, if I wasn't a DJ, I would probably spend a lot more time with my family, with my little ones, my big girls as well. I mean, As far as what I do aside from DJing, I do work for Baltimore City Public Schools. I love that. I work with children, so I do special education and run a special ed department at one of the schools here in Baltimore. So aside from that, I can't really imagine what else I would do. That's pretty much my life, and I love it. So, as you know, it's been in social media and just all over Facebook, Twitter. A lot of the clubs in Baltimore and also in DC have been closing a lot of the LGBT establishments that we've had. And, you know, I talked a little bit about the closing of the Hippo. There's also been recent news about Central being sold and eventually being turned into condos, as well as Cobalt down in DC. And, you know, all of these establishments are huge parts of our community, and it's pretty sad to see the fact that, you know, all these clubs that really welcomed everyone, but also were safe havens for our community, are closing. I'm heartbroken at the loss of the Hippo a few years ago. Cobalt in DC literally just closed this week, and I was there for 10 years as well. So I'm definitely sad about all of these closings and just losing sort of this history in our community. You know, the flip side is that at least our community is becoming much more widely accepted pretty much wherever we go, and, you know, events are happening really at any kind of establishment you can think of. I mean, I just saw something on Facebook today about a bingo hall having drag bingo. And that's something we did at the Hippo for years. So, you know, it's kind of a blessing and a curse that we're losing these safe havens. But, you know, it's 2019 and people are feeling safer and happier to be out there and being their true selves wherever they go. So, you know, it's a good thing. But hopefully we just keep holding on to the establishments that we do have. So a couple years ago, there was a campaign that I started about a person in our community who unfortunately was discriminated against because of something as silly as having rainbow lanterns in her yard. She received a threatening letter from a neighbor, and as a community, we wanted to kind of wrap our arms around her and support her, and also use something really negative like a threatening letter and turn it into a positive thing for our community. So we reached out to her, and with her permission, used some of the words that were in this letter, basically, that were calling these lanterns in her yard, which this individual was offended by for some reason. They were calling her relentlessly gay lanterns offensive. So we took that and ran with it. Myself and a good friend of mine made several t-shirt campaigns on Facebook and just out there in the internet. And we basically designed 4 different t-shirts and raised money for multiple causes in our community. We've raised money for the GLCCB, which now has a new name that's escaping me. Sorry. But we also raised money for youth in the community who happen to identify as LGBT and are homeless, which sadly affects a lot of youth in our country and our community. We raised money for that organization as well. So, you know, I'm all about giving back to the community and love doing stuff like this. So we just took a really negative thing and turned it into a positive. The craziest thing about the situation with the lanterns is that the individual who received the threatening letter, she wasn't even gay. She just happened to like rainbows and had rainbow lanterns in her yard. So this person was discriminated against and took all of that energy that was thrown at her and gave us permission to give back to the LGBT community. So there's tons of people that I could thank out there, and I appreciate just everyone in the community who's supported me for all these many years with my DJing. You know, obviously thank you to the Audio Infusion for having me here this evening, and you know, thank you to my wife and kids and everybody else out there who supports me through all these 18 years and counting of DJing. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.